What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Hot Rod Kelly, and I'm back with another video. So today we're gonna be locking out a billet distributor. All right. So to give you a quick walk around on what locking out a distributor is, it's pretty much just taking out the entire ignition curve out of your ignition system. So every car, no matter distributor, running through computer, no matter what, all has a ignition curve or a timing curve where it starts off at, I guess you can say, probably 10 degrees base, or 9 degrees, 12 degrees, or whatever, and then from there over RPM range, it'll increase and get to a point where it has total timing. So when you lock out a distributor, all you're doing is pretty much setting a total timing at idle and basically at all the times. So you're not gonna have an advance over a time period throughout the RPM range or anything like that. When you crank the car up, when it's in there idling, when you're driving it, it's always going to be total timing. So the timing that you have when you put your pedal all the way to the floor, it's going to be experiencing that all the times, which it has its pros and cons. I personally like it because it becomes very responsive. My car actually seems to idle and run better at idle, and it just runs very smooth. As soon as you put the pedal down to the floor, it's very instant. It gets into its power quickly, and it's able to get my RPMs up, I feel like, quicker. And it's a really good trick to use on these old little hot rods and stuff, these push rod based motors, if you're naturally aspirated. Cons, you are going to experience lower miles per gallon. Your miles per gallon will go down, and it's going to put a load on your starter. So when you're cranking the car up, it's not really supposed to be experiencing, let's say, 20 or 30 degrees of timing. That's why you have a base timing. It's really supposed to start at about 10 degrees of timing or 12 degrees or whatever, and it doesn't put a big load on the starter. So it is something that you're going to experience, and the more compression you have in your motor, the harder it's going to be on your starter. But there's other ways to get around that. MSD makes a timing retard box that you can set up specifically at idle, specifically for startup. So when you get ready to start your car up, they have a retard box where it'll set the ignition time in at, let's say, about 10 degrees or whatever, just to crank the car up. And then once it cranks up, you're going to be experiencing a locked out total timing, and then you'll be ready to go. So now I'm gonna put my GoPro on and then give you guys another view of me taking this apart. Alrighty, so far all I've done was take the cap off. The cap is really easy to take off. It has two, Phillips head screws right here. It's push down and turn. Take the cap off, and there's gonna be a rotor right under it that mounts right on top of here. You're gonna take that off, take the rotor off, two screws right there, keep the screws. All right, now what we have here are the weights. Now these weights are what advances the timing throughout the RPM curve by expanding, just like this. Now we can change out the springs, and now allow it to advance much quicker. Springs, and then I believe bushings. The bushing, I believe, this is the bushing up under here, and if you change out the bushing, that'll change the total timing, and the springs will help with the advancement of timing. If I'm wrong, please comment in the comment section. Let me know if I said that correctly. But you guys should understand where I'm getting at. So now we're going to take off these springs here and lift these weights up off of it. All right. Alrighty, so the springs, and then I guess I caught the little bushing that's under it. Got those off. Now these should lift right up. Alright. So now we have the weights off. We took the springs off. We got 2 springs here. I'm gonna keep those just in case I decide to put them back on. I doubt I do, but you never know. And then it has 2 bushings up under the springs, and from there you have 2 weights. Next, I have to take this nut off, and once I take this nut off, this is going to allow this to lift up. But before this rod or this shaft is able to lift, we're going to have to knock out this pin here for the gear. Have to knock this pin out, and then once you knock that out, you're going to pull this up and basically just turn it 180 degrees, drop it back down, put the nut back on, and put the gear back on, and that's all we'll be doing. All right. Alright, there's gonna be a washer up under it, and there's also a bushing as well. Did it just come off? Yeah, it did just come off. There we go. Alright, and that is the bushing right there. Alrighty. All we're gonna do is knock this pin out now. We gotta knock this pin out to release this rod and allow it to move up. So now I'm gonna get a little punch to punch this pin out and take the gear off. Alright. Alrighty. So I knocked the pin out. Now I can slide the gear down. So once I took the gear off, all you're gonna do is turn this 180. So this is where it started off originally. Lift that up. This is where it started off originally when you lifted it up. Now you're gonna lift this shaft up. You're gonna turn this 180, and you want to drop this stud into the small hole. And now it's locked out. So now once you drop it down in here, you're gonna put the nut up under here on the stud so this doesn't lift back up. It's gonna be this nut right here. You're gonna put this nut back on. I just dropped the washer, so that's awesome. But yeah, put the nut back on here. That'll have this mounted to there. You're gonna put the gear back on, push or knock the pin back through, drop the rotor on, and from there you're golden. You're done. We're locking out your distributor. All the parts I used was just a screwdriver, hammer, a little pin here, and 11/32 wrench. All right. Oh yeah, and then this right here, this little needle that I use to take off the spring. So yeah, so if you have any questions, man, leave them in the comment section. Don't be scared to ask me anything. I'll do my best to answer them. And yeah, that'll be all for today's video. Pretty easy hack for any you know, push rod base motor with distributor. Just lock out your timing. Much easier to tune. You got to keep going into the distributor, changing around springs or weights and stuff, trying to change your timing curve. If you're carbureted, simple 10.5, 11, well, I would even say up to like 13-to-1 compression. Really, actually, I take that back. It doesn't even matter what compression you're running, because if you get a start retard box from MSD, you don't have to worry about putting that load on your starter when locking your timing out. Alright, so with that all being said, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.